What's up, everybody? You're listening to Gone Fishkin here on idobi Radio with your host, Fish. Twitter.com/Gone Fishkin. If you have a request, if you want a shout out, Instagram.com/Mike Fishkin, Instagram.com/the pug named Biggie. I am very excited for tonight's show for a plethora of different reasons. Reason number one, I get to do my show live-ish with friends again. And reason number two, I have... Well, now they're my friends because I said it live on the radio.
We're
that
best
has
friends.
to be true now.
We're best friends. It's fine.
We had one night in Vegas together. I've been listening to them for about 20 years now. They have sold over millions of records. They've played all over the world. They've played arenas. They've played everything. You've seen them live. You've sang along to their songs at bars. You've sang along to their songs in your car. I'm very excited right now to have Story of the Year for the first time on the show. What's up?
Hello.
Hi.
Happy to be here. That's a great introduction. I feel very proud of myself right now.
Thank you. I was going to start listing off singles. I was going to start listing off
You might know them
records.
from such hits as...
Yeah, you know them from their tours with.
Yeah.
I actually, funny enough, I looked up, obviously, a bunch of stuff on you guys. You guys toured with Hoobastank?
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of the best tours we've
Yeah, it was
ever
Linkin
done.
Park,
Yeah.
POD, and Hoobastank.
No
and us.
fucking way.
Yeah, that was our biggest tour of pretty much still of our career. But that was in 2004. Yeah.
That is one of the main reasons that Until the Day I Die worked the way it did, because, you know, a couple Warner bands together out there like promoting new singles, and like we were in that like major label marketing machine at the time.
Yeah.
And making that tour happen wasn't just like, yeah, we'll bring out Story of the Year. Like, it was a well-planned thing.
It's because we're sick, dude.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm sorry, that just like came into my head from when we said known from, and I'm like, oh, Hoobastank, holy shit.
Yeah, we've been friends with them for a long time. We were just talking about them. That's weird. But yeah,
So sick.
Great guys.
So introduce yourselves for everyone watching right now and listening.
I'm Josh.
I'm Dan.
I'm Adam.
I'm Ryan.
And together you are Story of the Year, just like every old interview between...
It's like Voltron.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So you guys are currently ripping on the alternative charts right now. Gasoline is an absolute monster of a single off your brand new record, A.R.S.O.N. And guys, I mean, as far as I remember, like listening to music, you guys have always been on top. You guys have always been a staple in the scene and everything. Now, a little bit of like 20 years since the first record. Talk about having a hit 20 years later, and also it's just like being so well received by everyone.
Dude, I know I speak for these dudes as well, not just myself. I think we kind of all just stopped even thinking about radio as even a possibility.
100%.
Almost. You know, it's like it's been so long since we've had an actual like charting song that it's like while writing, it doesn't even occur to us. Even when we put this record out, it's like, you know, you think about streaming, you think about playing for your fans, you think about social engagement, all that stuff. But it's like, it's still kind of weird to me that it's working at radio. It's amazing, but it's like, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds weird to even hear it. Like, that it's happening.
It's been
again.
so long for us, and we don't even think about it anymore. So now, I mean, it's like, it's so awesome, you know?
But I think that when you stop worrying about it and you just, I mean, we never worried about it that much, but you know, you stop trying to chase like, all right, we need another hit. We need hits. You got to do this. I think when you stop worrying about it and just make music you love, maybe it connects more and it works better that way, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of where we're at.
And loving the music definitely is very apparent through A.R.S.O.N. And in my opinion, it's like the most like Story of the Year sounding record that I've personally heard in a very long time. Obviously, Wolves was fucking awesome. You had a bunch of awesome records. And the last one, in my opinion, only my opinion, was a little poppier and a little poppier leaning. What made you guys kind of decide to go back to, I hate to say roots, but like kind of the early days of Story of the Year with like massive breakdowns? Obviously, you have the one acoustic song, I believe, Halo, the acoustic bass song.
It's the one after that. Better Than High is the acoustic one. Yeah.
But you have those elements. But I would say this is your hardest record in a long time.
It's interesting how, in our minds, the last one was the most Page Avenue since Page Avenue. Mm-hmm. But it was missing the heavier side for sure. But like melodically, it's very much from the same kind of place. And Colin, our producer on both albums, helped us go kind of like rediscover or like dig up that version of us and have that outside perspective, because he's a little younger. He kind of like grew up listening to Story of the Year a little bit. So he helped us get that. But this one, I don't know how much of it was conscious. And like, you know, the way Ryan writes, he has so much output that it's not necessarily like, here are the only 12 songs, you know? Mm-hmm. So I guess everyone was missing the heaviness to some degree.
It just happened.
Yeah, it's not like a conscious decision. Like, hey, on this one we're gonna go heavier. On this one we're gonna go softer. It's just we just try to write great songs that we love, and they just happen to be heavier.
Whatever sounds good wins.
Yeah,
like,
and best song wins, and they just happen to be a little heavier, you know?
It kept happening in the studio where like the people would be writing with, or we worked with a couple other co-producers as well. Dan Book, he would be like, "Oh, that's cool, and you scream. You should do that more." And he would just kind of encouraging it, and like we would all be like, "Oh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool." So it just kind of leaned that way, and you can get away with a little bit more now because radio is leaning a lot heavier, just streaming and just what's connecting with people. People like heavy music again, you know. So
that shit stuff didn't even like.
You could say whatever the hell you want.
That didn't. The radio stuff, like, and none of that ever occurred to me while we were writing. And then when it was over, and they were like, "Dude, I think Gasoline's a hit," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like,
What do you mean? Only think.
The one where Dan's just screaming the whole fucking time, like that can be a hit. Like,
yeah, in
what
the
are you
studio we were
talking
just
about?
like, well, this is gonna be a cool heavy album track, I guess, you know, because it was like so intense, but it's still so melodic and like it works and it's crazy.
I just thought it was a cool album track, you know, and they're like, that's your lead off track, but that also might be your hit. And I'm like, I don't know.
What do we know?
And even like the lyrics, like the place that Dan goes with that is like thematically different. It's like tonally different. It's like tongue in cheek very much, you know? Like Dan's clearly not trying to go out and commit arson and go down the street smashing stuff.
That you
Maybe
know
he
of.
is.
That you know of.
Or am I?
Allegedly.
Unless he's a New England fan and you win the Super Bowl, right? Or lose the Super Bowl.
Dan loves football.
But
Huge football fan.
yeah, so like just leaning into something that was like a little outside of the box for us and going kind of wild with it. That's definitely not the mindset you have when you're like, we need a hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun song. Yeah.
In summary, we quit worrying about any of that shit. And the moment we stopped worrying about that, our music got way better.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I mean, working with a legend, Dan Book, too. I mean, I don't know many producers and writers that could say they had a Story of the Year cut and a Hillary Duff cut come out in the same couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan's awesome.
And that's the thing is you do this as long as we have, you know, we're like 25 years into this or whatever. At this point, you realize that like a good song or a great song is a fucking great song, whether it's Hillary Duff land or Story of the Year land. It's just like you work with these people that are truly brilliant and amazing at what they do, like Dan Book. And it's like, it makes you just really appreciate like different genres and it kind of in a new way. Cause you're like, damn, there's like real chops there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then it's funny because I would say Gasoline's like one of your hardest singles, in my opinion, that's really had a radio love. But your next single coming out is See Through, which in my opinion is the poppiest chorus on the album.
Yeah.
And I'm not much of a runner, as the cameras could see these days, and I never was the mosh pit kid, but it made me want to go like run in a circle pit when I heard it for the first time. I'm like, this is the circle pit song.
Yeah, that one's very different on the record and it's very poppy, but yeah, we knew we wanted to put out something heavy first, and then we didn't want that to be the first single just because that doesn't really represent most of the album, but it's a really great fucking song. And
but that's what's cool, like with this band like Story of the Year, where we put out our first record and you have a song like Hero Will Drown, like the lead track, or like Divide and Conquer, and then you go to a song like Sidewalks. Like, so right out of the gate, we kind of have like artistic license to kind of do whatever the fuck we want. Like we can make an acoustic song and then we can make a song like Gasoline, and people that like grew up with our band, it's not weird to them. You know what I'm saying? Because we've kind of always done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you guys have been so diverse, and it's funny because there's so many subgenres of rock, and I feel like Story of the Year has always just consistently hit every subgenre on the record, giving a little bit of everything for everyone.
I think it's just for our own well-being. We just don't want to write the same song over and over again. It's like we don't want to get bored with it, so we just do whatever feels right.
Hell yeah. And before See Through and Gasoline, I would say probably my favorite Story of the Year song was Take Me Back. And just like growing up and hearing that song, it was so cool to hear like obviously the lead in it and how heavy it was, but the pop elements and how melodic it was. And it really like opened my eyes to I could do both. I failed at both, and that's why I have a radio show. But
It's never too late. Oh, got it.
But talk about blending so many different genres of rock to appeal to so many different audiences. Like, because you could appeal to the radio rock crowd, the active rock crowd, the arena rock, but also you appeal to the Warped Tour kids so easily.
Yeah, I think that's just our influences like are all over the place, you know, and like we like a lot of different kinds of music. And then when I sing, it always brings it into the Story of the Year vibe. It always sounds like us whenever I sing on it, no matter what kind of music it is, which is a good thing. We didn't know that in the early days that we were going to have an actual sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't. Once again, we don't think about that too much. It's just like just write the song that we want to hear, and like a song like "Take Me Back," I love that one because it's a little more punk rock. It's kind of pop punky. Like I love that kind of style of vocal, no matter what the music is. But that was one of my favorites on the second record for sure.
I think to echo Dan, like I think that has a lot to do with it because like Josh is a hip hop guy, punk rock guy. You have like more eclectic kind of thing. He'll go from the Beatles to fucking Lonely Island to like whatever. And even though I make like heavy riffs and stuff, like I don't really listen to heavy music so much, you know, like a little here and there, or whatever. But you put all that together, you know, and it just all of our influences in our own way kind of come through, you know.
And when you're in the studio, and I feel like any artist, you just know whether or not it fits for your band. If you're not trying to force anything, like everybody just starts to vibe on a certain thing, you just know whether or not it's right. Yeah. And there were songs like on the last album that we did with some co-writers that I really loved and I got kind of hung up on, but as a group, it was known like that one's not for us.
Yeah, it's like it's a good song. That's not our band.
Yeah. No, for sure. And obviously, what is it? 7 records now?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be some trial and error on stuff like that from every interview I've done.
We've had a lot of error.
And you have a lot of eras as well, too,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. So now you guys took a brief hiatus and got back together in 2013. Now, when you guys came back from the hiatus, obviously it's been 13 years since. What was like kind of the main mission of like coming back, and where'd you guys want to prove / get back to?
To me, it was like up until 2019, really.
Oh.
Like, because we weren't really...
No,
Like
we've
we did
never done
Wolves,
anything
Wolves,
official.
but we didn't really tour in that era much.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Not 2019.
17.
Yeah.
17
Wolves
is
came
when
out.
Wolves
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah. So
What year is it? Let me ask you this.
Did you go on hiatus in 2013 or
It
get
was
back?
like-
Something about 2013 happened.
We went on hiatus after
So it was like
2013.
it was like 2013, 2012-ish.
Well, no, we had a like an unofficial hiatus between the Constant and the Anniversary, which was 2013.
Okay.
That was
so
like
then
a-
I
that
feel
was
like
a-
we had...
That was like a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be like in between a record cycle.
But
we
that was the
really
time
didn't-
like he did Greek Fire, I was in drugs, Dan was doing the Fuck Off and Dies, Josh was changing tires.
Yeah.
The reason why we don't know is because we didn't purposely do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're shitty business people.
It was just that like the genre kind of had a dip, and like it wasn't financially working for us at the time. So we just didn't really tour much anymore. We were still trying to get things together the whole time.
It was more like, let's stop before we run this completely into the ground.
Yeah.
The first time I think we were all that. And I think as time went by, it was more just like, you know, like we started getting older, we had kids and shit, and it's just like financially, it's like we kind of all had to do some side hustles and stuff like that. Like I was doing photography and I started like getting really into that, you know, and we all did things on the side. But I remember in 2019, kind of like right before the pandemic, I had this like unbelievable opportunity with this media company, and I was like doing photography work for them. Long story short, it was like this unbelievable opportunity. And I remember on my lunch break from one of my shoots, I called Dan and I was like, I'm not like cut out to do that. Like I can't go to the same place every day. Like I can't do this. No offense to anyone listening to this, but like I'm not designed to be in a cubicle situation. Like I'm just not, you know? So I remember calling Dan and I was like, dude, I'm going to walk out of this place today if you promise me that like we'll give this one more shot. Like, you remember that? Just being like, dude, I think people want us to be a band again, and we should find out. And let's try to be a band again, and let's just like fucking start doing this again, you know? So then I just talked to the partners, and I was like, I can't be a partner. I got to go, you know? And we just started working on Tear Me to Pieces and started like...
And then the pandemic hit, and we were like, oh,
Yeah, we started Tear Me to Pieces process like right before the pandemic stuff.
Yeah.
So that would have came out way earlier, but...
Yeah, but I just had a moment sitting there. I was like, I love photography, and this is like amazing, but like I'm supposed to make music, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. You always find your calling out when you try to do something else.
And also, it's like when it's a true calling and it's something that like is just in your DNA, you can't ever really turn it off.
Yeah.
You can try, but it's there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I was having dreams where I was writing music in my dreams, and I would wake up and I would remember like riffs and shit. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just my subconscious being like, dude, you're on this wrong path. You need to hit the brakes, back up, and go to that intersection and go the other way and get back to where you're supposed to go. Like I was literally writing dreams in my sleep. You know, it was the most bizarre. Hasn't happened since, but it was fucking weird, man. You know,
I love when I write dreams.
Oh, sorry. Right. I was writing songs in my dreams because
we could have let that go.
Yeah,
but,
we don't let those things go in our
We're all
band.
such assholes.
Now I'm going to second guess everything I say. I was going to let it slide because I know I fuck up.
Oh,
all
we
the
wouldn't
time.
do it to you. It's just us.
No, we will now that you've said it.
Thank you.
But I would wake up and go like, "Holy fuck!" Like I wrote a riff last night while I was asleep, you know, and just I literally it was my subconscious telling me like, "You're on the wrong path."
Dude, the next level of that is I like fully left the band for 4 years, I guess, probably.
Yeah, in the Wolves era, he was not in the band.
Quitter.
Yeah, I left like
It wasn't a bad thing. He just didn't want to tour anymore.
You left
Didn't want
right
to do it.
after the
10th anniversary.
the 10th anniversary Page Avenue.
Way to bitch out on us, bro.
And I just, you can't really know if the grass is greener on the other side until you go find out, right?
These are facts. Yeah.
So I wanted to stop touring, just kind of wanted to just be a normal person with a day job and just actually like be in one place for once, and just be at home with my wife and be able to like show up to a nephew's birthday party and all these things that you can do when you're normally at home and not riding around in a motorhome. And it was great. It was a great experience. I worked at Apple. I worked in retail for like, I guess 7 years with the pandemic because I didn't quit, when we were making Tear Me to Pieces. Josh and I were like taking off from work to come to the studio.
Oh, I didn't take off work. I worked while I was at the studio.
Yeah.
Like remotely.
Damn.
So like that
Shit
experience
got real for Story of the Year, man.
that experience of like having to like reset in a way, learn normal adult skills, and then just see the idea of being in a band almost from the outside. Like I literally saw from the outside. I watched these guys play shows. I would go, even when they made Wolves, like I refused to let them show me demos or rough mixes. I was like, no, I want to hear it by like getting a CD and putting it in a CD player and like full third person perspective. And while I enjoyed like not having to like rough it for a while because it wasn't like the dark times when like I would watch them like load out after a show, like carrying gear and stuff, and I'm like, God, I'm so happy I'm not doing that. But then it was only a matter of like a year or two where it's like, damn, maybe I do want to carry that case. Maybe I do want to restring that guitar.
And it all made sense. We were like, hey, you want to be back in the band, right?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, there's really no better feeling than carrying a guitar out of a venue for whatever reason. Like, I haven't done
If
it.
it's just a guitar, yeah.
Just
yeah.
one guitar.
All the other shit is.
Maybe two
Yeah, you
guitars.
should try being a drummer.
Yeah, that's why I quit playing drums.
I was a drum tech actually for one day last year. I teched for the Somerset. They played with All American Rejects in Vegas, another Vegas story. But yeah, Jess couldn't find a drum tech, and I'm like, I can watch a YouTube video. There I am. I'm on the stage like watching fucking Reject soundcheck. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing do? So
There's a lot of moving parts on that.
Yeah.
yeah, and the way I set it up, they were all moving as she was playing them as well.
That's not good.
Yeah, she said it was
You
good, but
failed.
not good enough for tour.
Yeah.
So I'm back doing radio again. All the Rejects guys were like, we didn't know you were a tour guy. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just here
I'm
to
not.
hang. It's an early one here on Gone Fishkin. It's
true.
And also recording on Friday the 13th, which I never do.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got 2 Friday the 13th in a row.
Yeah.
Like, because our
price
record
of
came
one.
out on Friday the 13th in February.
Oh, holy shit.
That's weird. I was like,
Spooky.
that happens, but I guess February is a short month. So yeah.
Yeah, no. I miss the days of Friday the 13th tattoos.
Yeah, most shops still do that stuff. Yeah.
Not around here.
Oh, well,
Yep.
you live in a nerd area, I guess.
Do you have one?
Nerd.
No.
Well, get one.
I will today. Let's go.
Wait, you actually
Right
don't have
after
any?
this.
You don't have any Friday the 13th tattoos?
No.
Are you going to get Jason's mask?
I would. I don't care.
I have a couple because clearly I'm a big tattoo guy. Really like the big tattoos. So
I got a bunch of little fun ones on my leg. That's where I get my little good ones.
gotcha. I love that. Well, and something else I love is A.R.S.O.N, your brand new record, and obviously it's an acronym and everything behind it. So, is it a concept record, or did you guys just like the term that I am 100% going to mess up while I try to spell it in my head?
It's about a fishing team. We've gone fishkin. No. I mean, it's very, the theme, I mean, it has kind of a theme, like all the songs kind of have a similar feeling and stuff, but no, that was not a concept by any means. we always get done recording a record and then kind of look back and go, all right, what encapsulates the feeling of what this is? And A.R.S.O.N, that line from Gasoline, just kind of, it stood out and it made sense in a weird way. And then we kind of made a acronym for it later to make it kind of fit what we were going for. But yeah, it was not very pre-thought.
I love how much you guys think but don't think. Is what I'm getting from this whole interview.
Kind of just letting things happen works out better for us now. I mean, we have had different times in our career where we've overthought everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of trying to get away from that nowadays.
We had too many cooks in the kitchen to like premeditate anything, you know? Like, I don't think a concept album is possible for us, you know?
Yeah, we're too much of a democracy to have a.
Exactly. Yeah.
It would just have to be so basic and vague for that. But yeah, the thinking thing, like, that's something I've realized in the last couple of years about myself. Once I start to get like cerebral about the music I'm making, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
Like, I should just stop and just come back later, you know? I got to just let it happen, sit down. I don't plan. I'll just start playing and just what kind of comes out, just let it come out. And I think when we're doing vocal melodies and stuff, it's kind of the same thing. It's almost like a stream of consciousness, just kind of like you just start ad-libbing shit and you just, you know, the song almost tells you what it wants to be about. Because like, oh, that's a cool word. And what could that mean? And then we'll build a whole idea, a whole concept around that just kind of happens, you know?
For sure.
So yeah, these days, the less I think, the better music I make, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, like Gasoline just kind of happened. We were like, we knew it was a heavy song. It's like we're sitting there. It's like, all right, this has to be about something like, it's going to be a lot of screaming probably. Like when and then I think Dan Book, who we wrote it with, I think he actually said Gasoline at some point, right? Mm-hmm. He was just like, what is that, Gasoline? And we were like, ooh, Gasoline, that's cool. It's like, oh, that fits the vibe of this. And then it just like writes itself, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, you don't sit down and go like, all right, today, like, we're gonna try to make a heavy riff and then sing a song about just getting reckless and lighting stuff on fire. Like, it would, that song wouldn't exist if that was the mindset. If that was like the method, like it wouldn't work, you know?
Yeah,
there's not a single riff on this record where I sat down and was like, all right, and dude, I wrote like five albums worth of stuff, and there's not one riff, one song, nothing where I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and then theoretically, if I go to here, and then what scale would it, like, nothing. I sit down and I turn my brain off and I move my hands, and then I go, oh, that's cool, and that's it, you know?
I love it. Keep doing it.
I am. Trying.
You guys have a big future ahead of you. You just keep doing what you're doing. So now, one word I haven't used in this interview so far to describe your music is very anthemic. And when I think of Story of the Year, I think of just rock anthems, like obviously Anthem of Our Dying Day, Until the Day I Die. Now on A.R.S.O.N, are there any lyrics that or choruses that come out to you as like anthemic or purposely went in as an anthemic rock band song?
I think that is one goal we always kind of do have. It's like in the back of our mind, you always want to have the biggest chorus possible, and you want to just be like, you know, you want the song to go, whoa, that's fucking awesome, you know? I think Into the Dark has a really big anthemic chorus. Mm-hmm. I mean, a few of them do, but I think that one stands out when I think of anthemic, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, though, Gasoline is as well. Mm-hmm. Like, it really, I feel like it really represents a feeling that a lot of people have right now in the world or in this country, like regardless of where you are on the spectrum of beliefs and opinions, there's a lot of pent up shit. And like I like showed the music video to my family because we shot part of it in a family member's house, and my cousin, who I don't see very often, who's, you know, she's in her 50s, she's watching it, and it's this absurd video, right? But like the chorus happens. And she leans over to me and she goes, what is it? Fuck it up, burn it down. What is it? You know? And at first I was like, is she like judging me? Like, what are you guys singing about? But it came back around and she's like, okay, tell me the whole lyrics. And basically for her, she texted me later. She's like, this is my song. You guys wrote like the perfect song for me right now, you know?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it does fit the times right now so well. And that's probably part of why it's connecting with people and why it's working.
Yeah, that's a big deal to me because, like, to me, it's like can go two ways, right? There's something that's just like really catchy. It's almost like nursery rhyme, and you sing it, but it doesn't really mean anything. Like, I don't know why I just thought about this, but like that Billy Idol song, like Here She Comes Now, Screaming Moni Moni.
Yeah.
Moni Moni is not that. What is that? That's nothing. Like, but it's catchy as all fuck, and it's an important song. But then like there's a chorus that's catchy and nursery rhymey that sticks with you, but also has like emotional weight and impact, you know. And like to me, the last song on the album, I Don't Want to Feel Like This Anymore. Like the engineer, like after we recorded that, called me and like kind of, I'm not going to say it on here, but he told me something about how that chorus had an impact on someone special to him that literally made like the hairs on my neck stand up, you know.
Aww.
And I've heard that twice now, you know, from people that I really respect. So if something's big and anthemic and catchy, that's a win. But then if it has a like significance, like emotional significance and weight, like that's a home run to me. And I think there's times where we do that, you know, where I feel like we do that anyway, you know.
For sure. Yeah. And speaking of emotional weight and lyrics, when was the first time you guys heard a song of yours like sung at a bar or like an emo night or a rock night or anything where you're like, whoa, like this is interesting?
I was at the gym recently, and I was working out next to a girl, and they were playing Anthem of Our Dying Day at my gym over the phone, and like this chick had no idea that I was in the band, but I was 5 feet from her, and she was just doing her things, and she was singing along to every single word, like even the scream. She was like, rah, and like, and it's like she had no idea I was just next to her. But that's bizarre when that happens, you know.
Yeah, like a bunch of years ago when the emo night started, I would, you know, I was like, oh, this is dumb. They're just gonna play everybody's songs. Like this can't be a thing, you know. But then like I would see the reaction when they'd play Until the Day I Die or something. I was like, holy shit, like our song is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool to like, because after all those years to like see it's still connecting and reacting like that. That was a cool thing, you know.
Hell yeah. I get to feel like you during Until the Day I Die. I don't know what part you do it exactly if you do it, but I do mute it and have the crowd sing. I'm like, oh, this is what he feels like.
Yeah, we you get a little glimpse.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, we always do. If you die right now, you know that. And everybody goes, I die too.
Noted for the next one.
Yeah, that's a good one right there.
Yeah. I always feel like the singer. So now we talked about how you guys have worked with Dan Book, and Dan Book's an absolute fucking legend. I would do a fucking 5-hour episode on Dan Book on how good of a guy and how good of a producer he is if I could. Maybe I will. I can do it. It's my own
awesome.
show.
Dude, he's so talented, but he's also like the world's nicest guy.
Nicest guy in the world.
He opened the door. He's like, hugs, just like welcome.
Yeah.
He's like
made the vibe perfect every day. We would
Shout out to Cook.
Yeah. Cookers.
So cute.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, but
no.
I'm really enthusiastic even thinking about him.
He's
I
right.
love his vibe, dude.
Good hang.
Yeah.
Truly one of the best. Very blessed to have gotten to know him over the last handful of years.
Yeah,
Or
we didn't
probably
know him
the last decade.
We didn't know him before working with him on this record, but Colin Britton, who did both our last two records, technically, he was so busy being in Lincoln Park now. You might have heard of him. So he was like, I'm gonna have to co-produce on a lot of this record. So he's like, I got a few friends that are really talented, and Dan was one of them. So yeah, he took us over to Dan's house, and it was such a great thing that happened. You know, half the record we ended up working on with Dan, and it's awesome.
I feel like 15 minutes in, all of us, we were all like great friends.
Oh, I
Like
love
15
that.
minutes in, I
100%.
was like, dude, I've known you for 10 years, but it's really only been 15 minutes. You know?
Truly the
Yeah,
best.
the first day we met him, we wrote "My Religion," which on the new record, and like within a few hours, we had the whole song just done. It was crazy.
So sick.
That was the first.
I think
day?
that
I
wasn't
don't
the
think
first
so.
thing we wrote with him.
I don't think so. Either way, it was cool.
It was very soon. Yeah.
They can't
That was
be
the first one.
Was it? Well, that's awesome if it was. Cool. I love that song.
Last thing on Dan Book for the next 30 seconds. The new band he's working on, Showing Teeth, is so fucking good.
Oh yeah,
So hard.
That's why I keep seeing that band.
Yeah, it's so good. But along with Dan Book, you've obviously worked with Colin Brennan as well, and we'll get to the whole. There's a really cool Linkin Park connection with you guys throughout the years, in my opinion. So we'll get to that in a few. But you've worked with Feldman, you've worked with Aaron Sprinkle, I think I saw, and then obviously Dan Book, and then I saw there was a couple other legendary producers you guys have worked with. Talk about the difference between working with every one of these producers, because they all have such different styles, but you guys remain story of the year the whole time, no matter who you work with.
yeah. It really makes a difference, you know, who produces the record and who engineers it and everything. As you can tell, our first three records all sound very different from each other. Yeah, John Feldman did the first one. Steve Evans, who's like a more legendary kind of hardcore punk rock producer, he did our second record. And he did like half of our favorite records that we all grew up on, like Snapcase and Saves the Day. And those kind of records that were very influential on us. And then we worked with Elvis Basquet on our third record, who's done a bunch of crazy, awesome, huge stuff. But and then Aaron Sprinkle did Wolves with us. So yeah, we had no consistency for a long time. And then until these last two, Elvis did The Constant as well. But yeah, and then we met up with Colin, and he steered us in a right direction, and we really love the connection we have with him. So
that's awesome. And what was some of the biggest learning experiences you had throughout the years about being a band from working with such legends? Because when I think of Story of the Year, obviously besides you guys being legends, you guys were always in the presence of legends coming up, in my opinion.
I think
Legends.
early on, like, we learned a lot of lessons really hard. Like, we were resistant to a lot. So I feel so lucky that despite all that resistance, everything worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
We owe so much to John Feldman, even though he's like a maniac who has no filter, and in the studio he'd just be like, we'd show him a song that we loved, and he'd be like, no, it's a B-side at best. He'd just like completely dismiss it. It was like so hard on us.
I'm like, dude, this is so cool. It sounds like a hardcore band. It's amazing, right? We can have circle pits to it. It's like, nah. No, it's not great.
But he taught us everything.
we were all 21 years old. We're like that was a hard thing to hear at that age.
But he taught us everything, and we learned so much from touring with Goldfinger. So our entire foundation comes from there in terms of like graduating up from a local band that kind of had some shit going on to a real band,
Yeah, I agree with Adam. I think the biggest thing, especially those first couple records, is to just like making music is such a sacred thing to me. Mm-hmm. And like I really put everything I have into it, but at the same time I've really learned, and Feldman was like pivotal in this, to kind of not be so precious and can kind of controlling over it, and just let other people into the process and trust other people. Because when we were doing our first record, it's like I fucking knew everything. It's like you don't know more than guitar than me. Like I realized I was just in a lot of ways just stupid and shooting myself in the foot, and kind of stunting my growth as an artist, by being that precious about shit. So yeah, just letting other people in the process and like trusting other people. And then you realize like, whoa, these people are like great and super talented and know more than me. So I have an opportunity to learn here, and it took me a while to get to that,
And now you guys do some self-produced stuff too, right? It's kind of in-house in a way? Or Dan, you're working with other bands producing?
I did for a while in those low times when we weren't really focusing on the band, but yeah, we've always been good at like recording ourselves, and we're very tech savvy in that world. Like we could make a record on our own if we really wanted to, but it's great to have an outside influence and somebody to steer you and tell you if you're wrong. It's like, 'cause it's real easy to just get in a rabbit hole of your own ideas, and
it's so important. It's so important to have someone come in and almost join the band, but still be on the periphery enough to like have an outside opinion.
Yeah.
It's so important, at least for us,
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, whatever you're doing in the studio, you're doing it right. So
well, dude, and
all
like
working
to give credit where credit's due, a lot of that is the songwriters we collaborated with. We spent 90% of our career just doing stuff with us and not collaborating with anybody.
Really?
Dude, we're like the last band to do co-writes with people.
Shit.
Meeting Colin was the first time we wrote music with anyone else,
I mean, that's not to say that there wasn't like really heavy-handed input.
I'm not saying producers, I'm saying
Producer-wise, yeah.
Right. But, for like the average listener who might not understand the distinction, like co-writing from scratch versus like a producer just taking the song and reworking the shit out of it. We did a lot of that from the beginning with Feldman. He did that. But to Ryan's point, like starting together, that was a new experience for us.
Yeah. So, the co-write thing, like to give credit where credit's due, like we didn't do a lot of that. And then you meet these people that are just so talented, and you have to let them into the process because it's really important to us these days.
Hell yeah, the fifth band member is very pivotal, and they get to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, all right, now get the fuck out of here.
After I yell at you for a month in the studio, I'm doing it again.
We get to kick somebody out of the band like every day when we write songs.
Thanks for that song. Hit the fucking bricks.
No, yeah, but that is how we treat it. It's usually if we're writing with somebody, or if Colin's there writing with us or something, it's like just it's a fifth band member, and we just kind of throw ideas at each other, and it's really cool.
It's unbelievable how many talented people there are within like 15 miles over here.
Yeah.
You know, that are like so much more talented than most of the bands they're helping, you know?
And they were inspired by every single band they helped.
Dude.
Yeah, we hear
Or
that a lot
helping.
Yeah.
when we're in that. They're like, man, I grew up listening to your band. I would love to write a song with you guys. You know,
There's a dude, I was going to say kid, but he's not a kid. There's a dude named Elijah Knoll.
One of the best, American Teeth.
yeah. He's so talented.
Everything that comes out of his mouth to me, I'm like, great. That's profound. That's incredible. That's amazing. I'm awful. You're amazing. I'm ugly. You're handsome. Like,
God, he's handsome.
he's so good. Like, so good. You
He
know?
worked with us on the last 2 records, on
no
a few
way.
songs on each record. So yeah.
But yeah, maybe 10 years ago, I would be like, who's this guy? Like, I can do this. Why does he have to do it? You know, we don't need help. Turns out we need help.
The funny story about Elijah, for the longest time, I'm not like the smartest when I listen to music. I'm not like paying attention to my screen. I'm usually driving. I thought he sang Good Things Fall Apart, the John Bellion song, the Millennium John Bellion song. I'm like, this is Elijah. And then I like saw him like, dude, for the longest time, I really thought that was you singing it, not John
Did
Bellion.
he write on it? He might have, because
I don't think-
Colin works with John a lot too. So yeah.
I don't think he wrote on that one, just like coincidentally, but I was like, dude, I was telling people, I'm like, yo, fucking Elijah has a song with Millennium I keep hearing in my car.
That's
Do
crazy.
you like John Bellion?
I think he's awesome.
Do you like his new record?
It's really cool.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Yeah.
It's so funny because I'm from Long Island, and you talk about Long Island bands and everything. John Bellion's name just never comes up, even though he's like
is that
from
where he's
Seaford.
from?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah. Like him. Wheatus is from Long Island too, which is like funny enough.
Wheatus.
Yeah.
Like Teenage Dirtbag.
Yeah, Teenage Dirtbag. He went to my rival high school.
Nice.
Yeah, many years before me. But I do want to bring up hometown a little bit because you guys are from St. Louis, and when I think of St. Louis, I think of one artist for the most part, Nelly.
I was gonna thought you were gonna say I think of Murder.
Yeah.
No, that's Ja Rule.
No, just Murder.
I think of Mark McGuire and Nelly.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair.
So talk about
And story of the year.
and story of the year. So talk about growing up in the St. Louis scene. Were you guys kind of pioneers of the harder rock sound when you guys were coming up?
Yeah,
Didn't
there's
have much of a scene.
there's not much of a scene. There's a band called The Urge that that was like the pinnacle of what you could do in St. Louis, but like because they got signed and they toured in the late 90s and stuff, a little before us, but that was the only thing we had. We were like, if we could just do what The Urge does, then we would be great, you know?
Oh, holy
and,
shit.
So I think in our genre for sure, we were the first band to have the success we had, and definitely to sell millions of records and stuff in that world. But yeah.
Yeah, we were like dead set on moving out here, you know, because like there was a scene, especially like in the early 2000s, bands like Thrice and like we didn't have that in Missouri, you know.
Yeah.
Finch, Thrice, like that, the beginnings of this kind of genre, you know.
Yeah.
no,
And we
Orange
did
County
move.
Pop Punk.
We did move here in the early 2000s because we had kind of gotten to we'd sold out every venue in St. Louis, you know, in like 2001 and 2, and it was like, all right, we have no room to grow in that kind of a city, so we moved to Orange County, and like tried to start over, but at the same time we had met John Feldman, and it just kind of worked out the momentum that we had.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were trying to leave the St. Louis scene because it was like I don't know what else to do here, you know.
But it is cool now that we all lived there. We went home after that, and we've all lived there for 20 years. Oh, you lived out here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool now though, because people that know, like they know, and they think it's like it's extra cool
Yeah.
to them, you know. It's like you guys left for a minute, but you came back. You know, we were all raising families in St. Louis and stuff, so now it's like extra awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dude, I have a really vivid memory that, like, in the immature, petty part of my brain that still exists, I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy. We played our farewell show before we moved to Orange County at this venue, Mississippi Nights. Rest in peace, it's gone. It was like the top goal for any local band to be able to headline that venue. It was about 1,000 people, whatever. It was a legendary old venue, right? So we played this show, had this awesome night, and we were loading out, and I remember overhearing the door guy say to another door guy, yeah, they'll be back in 6 months, you know? Like we were just going to go out and fail. And lo and behold, we came back with a record deal and played our first show as like a signed band. I guess the first show we played back in St. Louis after that was as a signed band, as Story of the Year, you know?
So sick.
So, yeah, I wonder what that guy's doing.
Probably listening to A.R.S.O.N.
That was Nelly actually.
That's Nelly.
Fuck these kids.
That's Hell yeah. You guys obviously have to play live shows to support A.R.S.O.N, and it'd be an absolute shame if I didn't get to hear Gasoline live very soon, or get to pretend to run around to see through in a circle pit. Maybe I'll like power walk through it.
Our circle pits are slower than they used to be. It's fine.
Age appropropriate. Yeah.
And we're like, you guys remember how to do this? And then they're like, yeah.
So
Got their walkers and stuff. It's cool.
I'm gonna get a little motor wheelchair.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
around.
Have
Yeah,
a-
just
like a
smoke
racetrack.
everyone.
Yeah.
So now, are you guys gonna be playing shows to support the record at any point this year?
We got a bunch of festival stuff that's already announced, but we have a bunch of U.S. headlining stuff that we're getting ready to announce. It might be announced by the time this comes out, but a co-headline thing with a band that's very awesome, and we're excited about it. A couple legs of that, and then we're trying to stay busy, keep the momentum going. And we were supposed to be in Australia right now with Parkway Drive on their festival thing they were doing in Australia. When the album was released, it was like a whole month in Australia, but that got canceled. So we kind of got a slow start on the touring off for the record. But yeah, it's all good.
Second half of the year will be busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Hell yeah. Some may say A.R.S.O.N's gonna be a slow burn.
Slow burn. Hey.
Put that on the press release. So now, kind of hinted at it and talked about it a little bit. You guys have like a crazy connection with Linkin Park throughout all the years, and I talked about Dan with the what I thought was producing some more stuff. But talk about now in-house like editing videos. You started working with like I'm gonna mess up his name, Joseph Hahn from
Johan.
Johan
Yeah. Mr. Hahn.
from Linkin Park back in the day, and he produced the first 2 music videos.
He directed Anthem of Our Dying Day, the second one. The first video, Until the Day I Die, was Ryan Smith, who's still a good friend of ours, shot a bunch of photos for this album. He's like our mentor, pretty much, like photo and video stuff. But Joe taught us a lot as well, and working with the production company, I don't know if they're still around, Villains, we learned a ton from them. And the funny thing is that like the visual part of our band was almost like equal to the music in the early days, being the live show and then what we actually like put on screen. We got signed from like a VHS tape instead of a demo CD or something. Like Ryan and I edited this thing that was a bunch of live footage and a bunch of crazy like Jackass shit, and of course some music. But that's what we got around to labels. That's what John Feldman got. That's the reason that he brought us out on tour. So the visual part of Story of the Year has always been there. And there's been, ups and downs in different times where we don't do it as much. But more recently, we've been working with our friend Jordan Phoenix, who's done all the videos for the past 2 albums. And I co-directed Gasoline with him, edited that, edited Disconnected and See-Through, which he's directed. So, yeah, it's very much a part of who we are as artists.
That's awesome. And you guys did TRL back in the day too, right?
Did we do TRL?
Did you ever go to TRL?
We
were-
were Last Call with Carson Daly.
That's right.
We
when
were
he was,
like
talk
on the
show,
set.
right?
We were on MTV a bunch. I don't know if it was actually TRL, but
we
yeah,
did
Gotcha.
more
we,
Fuse stuff.
we did more stuff at Fuse for
Yeah.
sure.
7th Avenue Drop.
7th Avenue Drive.
Oh, I remember 7th Avenue
Yeah.
Drop.
Yeah, we did a lot of that kind of stuff. And yeah, MTV played the shit out of all of our videos in the early days.
Now,
But yeah, Johan did direct a
We were oven fresh.
video. And yes, we toured with Linkin Park in 2004. I know you said something about Linkin Park. So
yeah, there's always the Linkin Park
we
connection.
toured together in 2004. And yeah, they were one of the biggest bands to ever take us on tour. And it was amazing.
So sick.
They should do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're due. And now our friend's their drummer. So yeah,
Hell yeah. And I think that'd be a sick tour,
I
personally.
agree.
Hey, we do too. Colin.
Yeah,
Hey,
Colin.
there's 5 people in the room that think it'll be a sick tour.
We're ready.
Just
We're
saying.
ready.
We're a great study group or whatever they call it.
You guys have our information. Contact us.
So now with getting all the love from Fuse and MTV back in the day, how different is it dropping Gasoline, obviously it being a giant hit, and now it comes down to clips on TikTok and Reels versus the beautiful body of work you guys work so hard on?
Yeah,
You
we
might be talking to the wrong band.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I don't
wrong
think we
person.
fully understand it.
I don't understand it either.
I
So
still like music videos. I still like that whole world, which means I'm the wrong person to talk to. I don't know.
Yeah.
we keep talking about, is it even worth making another video? What are we doing? But we just make them. It's fun.
Our video for War and Gasoline, like where we get to play these characters. It's like I would do that for the rest of my career. Then I've never even seen TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me.
I mean, if nothing else, like again, if you want an answer that isn't grumpy, you pick the wrong people. But like,
I love TikTok, guys. I'm there all the time.
even just like the vertical format versus widescreen, like the way our human eyes see the fucking world.
Yeah.
I hate it. I despise it when seeing things cropped that way because it's just it's literally unnatural. And it's weird that like we're going through this time in history with technology where we see everything through these like tall rectangles, and in the future, it's probably not going to be like that. We're probably going to have some other kind of thing. So I imagine looking at videos, little kids now looking at videos 70 years in the future, and their kids saying, why is everything tall and skinny like that? Like, what the hell is it? When they're looking through their fucking AR glasses or whatever, they're like, why'd you guys do that?
But
it's bizarre.
The upshot is like, and I can't think of a better example than the Deftones, where it's this super credible, highly artistic band that's really influential and very important to the zeitgeist and culture that just blew the fuck up 20, 30 years into their career because of TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't fuck with that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's
like
interesting times.
Well,
but it's like, it's because of TikTok,
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's like it's just instead of people calling into like MTV or Fuse to be like, play this video, play this video, play this video, they just repost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different version of a promotional tool. And sometimes stuff hits and sometimes it doesn't.
It's also a shitty online store also. Yes, it's a place to watch videos, but it's really a fucking like, it's just trying to sell you shit from every fucking angle, and it's obnoxious.
I've bought every stupid Dubai chocolate thing I've seen. So, a word I've definitely used a ton in this interview has been legends, and you guys have always had the support of legends throughout the years. Who are some bands that are up and coming that you could see kind of being the next story of the year, or a band like you guys where you guys were constantly supported by legends and then become the legends themselves?
Nobody can be us. Just joking.
There's a band called Nirvana. I think they're going to do pretty good.
I just saw them play their first show in a long time recently.
Yeah, I think for us, like, these aren't really new bands, but like seeing like Turnstile explode or something where it's just like guitar, bass, drums, and it's just like this raw kind of like thing that harkens back to like our roots, like in the 90s and hardcore and shit like that. That's cool. Like for me, a band like Bill Murray that's doing really exciting shit, that's very like free, and that's that kind of stuff I find like really inspiring.
Yeah, we were just talking about Hot Mulligan.
Yeah.
Think that they're very just raw, just punk rock, emo punk rock, whatever. They're in the middle somewhere. But yeah, I think that kind of stuff is what's cool now. It's like people are just wanting to go. It's almost like grunge is coming back, with all the technology now. You can get away with making all these crazy sounds really easily, or you can just be a band and just go on stage and kick ass. And that's the shit that we still love. And we're a band. We are still a band.
A fucking amazing band, a legendary band, a legacy band, a band who's dropping #1 singles this late in their career still.
We do our best.
That's the thing we're most proud of. It's like, to be able to still do that,
dude.
Nowadays, it's awesome.
This is inside baseball for sure. But like, long story, super fucking short. Bands play with like tracks, right? You have a drummer has a little click track in his ear, and there's like we don't tour with a keyboard player, a string player, whatever. That stuff is on the computer. Every band you listen to does that, right?
Yeah.
But we've had issues where that stuff goes down. It just happened on the last tour.
We had a catastrophic moment.
Where our whole system all went down, and we're like, we grew up playing guitars, drums, bass, and vocals. Let's just fucking raw dog it, and we just powered through. And it is a point of pride where a lot of bands these days, show's over.
Yep.
Show's over. Laptops gone. Show's over. And we're still those dudes at heart, so we can just power through and play a show.
We were all listening to everybody freak out in our in-ears. There was like, oh, we can't figure it out. I was like, I just took it out. I was like, dudes, we're a fucking band. Let's just fucking play. Then we just started playing.
Yeah, it went from
everybody loved it. The crowd was like, yes.
Yeah, it went from absolute panic. Oh my God, the world is ending, to the most triumphant ending that we could imagine. Like, we partied that night. We were so stoked. Like, we didn't really know what was up with the shit. Like, that was still yet to be solved. But like the fact that we like finished the show and we just did it raw dog, like you said.
Thank you guys so much for coming by the studio.
We're gonna end on that.
Yes. Okay, perfect. But, so, how can everyone keep up with you guys? I know you guys have so many different projects.
TikTok.
You guys
Train hard.
TikTok strictly. You guys have like personal projects and
Just
everything you
train
guys
harder.
work on that we didn't really get to touch on during this interview. I know you're going to touch on when you guys do additional content with us. But how can everyone keep up with everything you guys are up to?
Instagram, Spotify. I don't know. Apple Music. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at Story of the Year on all the social media stuff, whether or not we know anything about it.
Or personal pages?
Yeah, we're terrible with social media, but like if
We
there's
have people that post things for us.
if there's anything you need to know about what's going on, what's coming up, it's available at Story of the Year on Instagram, TikTok, all the stuff.
True. I love it. Well, I want to play one more song off of A.R.S.O.N. before we get going. What song do you want me to play for everyone?
Josh, you pick now.
Oh, it's my turn.
Pick your favorite song.
I don't want to feel like this.
You have to sing it. I was gonna say.
I can't.
Come on.
Oh,
It's
you
not
can
me.
do it.
It's not me, guys.
Thank you guys so much for coming by. I'm so stoked I finally got to sit down with you guys for an interview after all these years. So
Absolutely.
hopefully you guys are back very soon.
Thanks for having us.
man.
Of course.